Okay, all right. It looks like we're live now. How's it going, Chris? This is now lesson 18 together. Yeah, we're going to do another live lesson together. How's it going?
It's going good. My hands are cold.
Yeah, yeah.
It's cold.
Nice.
It's like
So,
62 degrees down here.
yeah, yeah. So we've been streaming a bunch of lessons together, and we are about to start doing more private lessons together, especially as I'm trying to really just hammer out every little bit that I can out of the curl of this middle finger. Like it has been a struggle for a long time. I was thinking maybe we could check on this one.
Mhm.
Double sound. Okay, G guy is getting double sound. Um, that's surprising.
Usually have to pay extra for that. That's really cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there. Okay, so G guy, are you getting double sound from both of us or just Chris? I want to make sure that because I can always clip out the beginning of the stream out of the video after the fact.
Mhm.
There's always so many issues. Vertical, just me. Interesting. That's not what I expected. Okay. Um, hmm. Um, okay, so you're still getting double sound from me.
Hmm.
There's always issues. And this is
Maybe it's a new one.
yeah,
I've not
yeah.
heard this one before.
This one hasn't come up before. Um, hmm. Oh, okay, it's Chris 2. Okay. Jeez. All right. Well, he said lesson away, so I guess it's not so bad that it's not watchable. Is that accurate? Lesson away, leave us behind. It's Chris 2.
That's
Okay.
weird.
Yeah, that's annoying. I wish I knew any other ideas of what to do. Okay, microphone,
Maybe
speaker.
it's OB. Is it the OBS?
Oh wait,
OBX?
speaker. Yeah, so OBS
Oh,
is
wait a
like all the
second. You know what?
settings.
I just heard my own voice in your feed. Do you
Okay,
have any speakers on with the volume up? Because they may be hearing.
I just have my earbuds. So, I mean, it is going through my earbuds at the moment.
Okay.
But I think my speaker.
Because I was wondering for a second if you were getting any actual volume in the room.
No, I don't. That's. I mean, the microphone might be picking up a tiny bit, like bleeding out of the earbuds, but I don't
Yeah, but not that
think.
much.
It's a really clear repeat after about a second. Yeah, so it's something else. It's something else that's like really getting an echo. That is so annoying. So this is a great example of why I want to go back to in-person lessons because we're gonna lose 15 minutes just dealing with technology.
Well, we'll just add it at the
Um,
end. I've got till 2.
well, all right, I appreciate it, but still, that's your time.
Dude, I try to keep buffers in between lessons because it's not like,
Yeah,
oh, your time has ended.
yeah, right. Okay, so now I just changed the speaker to. All right, so Lemon says that the audio sounds okay to her, so let's just go for it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so yeah, we are on lesson 18 now, which it's been really fun. People keep saying like commenting in the comment section. You probably haven't seen that, but oh, have you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Some people are like super thankful for this lesson series, which I think is awesome. I think it's a yeah, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we got a couple of regulars. Hello, G guy. Hello, Lemon. Okay. Now they can't hear you, and that makes sense. That is actually what I expected.
Oh, they
Okay,
can't
so
hear me?
now you should be able to hear Chris.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Well, we're just gonna have to go for it, I think. I don't know what would be causing. Now it's like a puzzle, you know. Now it's
Yep.
like
And now
I
you
want to
wanna
figure
figure
it
it out.
out.
Yep. It's okay. Take
This
2
hasn't
minutes.
happened. Yeah, it hasn't happened before though.
The echo?
Yeah, like this specific problem hasn't happened.
That sounds like something latency with OBS or
Okay,
something.
now they say now it's all good, so I have no
good.
idea. I
it's
literally
good,
didn't
it's
change
good.
anything. That happens,
good,
I
it's
guess. Yeah. All right, so we've been working for a long time about the curl of the middle finger. Last lesson we reviewed Villa-Lobos Etude 2 and some progress on that. Lesson before that was private, and we worked on a scales etude, Garcia 22.
And I'd love to hear that.
Honestly, I haven't been working on it very much.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
then let's
maybe
make that the plan.
next
Let's
time.
take maybe the first 3 lines of that for your next lesson. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
You're looking for slow. In fact, one of the things we're going to do some ladders
Yeah.
to start. Okay. But what I want to do is take the scale and deconstruct it backwards.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So you pick your scale. I don't care which one you do.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to give an update that I'm still putting in. I'm starting to like time box more like strict 20 minutes. Like really, I'm trying to shoot for an hour a day on the guitar now because I need to. I don't know. I need to get my life going back on track. And yeah, so like 20 minutes a day right now on pure scales, 10 minutes of a scale etude, then some little bit of time on Giuliani arpeggios, an arpeggio etude, and then a little bit of time on repertoire. That's currently my split. For the scales time, and I'm usually still doing like an hour and a half or sometimes 2, but like for the scales exercise time, I'm still focusing on G major ladders all the way up and down.
Okay.
I'm going at 50, 75, and 100%, with 100% being 16ths at 76 BPM.
Good.
And then, yeah, like I can now get through the whole thing and it's feeling a little bit better. I'm at a slow tempo, like even if I'm doing like quarter notes, I feel I'm still seeing some amount of bend in the tip joint.
Okay.
Like kind of no matter what, I feel like my hand, unless I'm doing something like really crazy, like...
You mean like a severe amount of arch?
Yeah, like unless I have like a really severe amount of arch, just like how long my middle finger is, I feel like I can't help but feel, even when I feel the tip joint being floppy, like I can prepare, like I'm preparing at a slow quarter note or something. I'm preparing, I feel it bending, but like just to put the finger on, like it has a little...
You have plenty of flexibility in your tip joint, so it's not a question of an overdeveloped knuckle. Okay, so for everybody listening and the further clarification, an overdeveloped, like if you, my best friend growing up, he was a mechanic for a number of years, right? And so he had a very hard time opening his hand entirely.
Okay.
Right? Because, you know, he's gripping 12 hours a day for years, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is that all of the knuckles become overdeveloped, overly strong, if you wanted to think about it that way. Baseball players, gymnasts, anybody who's doing that kind of grip, we're sacrificing we're sacrificing some flexibility for the reinforcement of those joints, right? Okay. So you would have a very difficult time doing that if that was an overdeveloped knuckle.
Okay. I mean,
you can do that all day long.
Yeah, I get I get that pretty easy, I guess. Yeah.
So that shows,
okay.
Yeah, if you felt a lot of resistance trying to get that tip joint to collapse, right? This is the problem. For instance, we have sometimes on the fourth finger, you'll see folks when they play and this mid joint will collapse and we're kind of lock up like this.
Yeah.
That's a collapsing joint. So what we want to do is like, hey, can it collapse? Yes.
Yeah,
So it's not a question of this joint being overdeveloped like it looks like this all the time.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what it is there's a certain amount of kinetic memory or muscle memory
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
involved when you hit X speed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The instinct, the reflex takes over.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're really trying to adjust or refine is your reflex,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
the way that we do that is exactly the way you're doing it. And you've seen
Uh-huh.
progress over the last months in terms of your overall speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely record.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
But now you've reached a plateau.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Yeah.
think of them as barriers. I don't think of them as obstacles. You've hit a plateau. And it's
Okay.
no different than if you're in the gym where you're working
Uh-huh.
and you're not feeling or seeing the results.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
what that means is that a shakeup is required,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
right? It
Mm-hmm.
just means you can approach the same thing from a slightly different angle. So
Right.
if you want to do G major, that's fine. I think
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather do a 2 octave just for time.
Okay. Yeah.
So you pick C, D, whatever.
Let's just see, I suppose.
But just play
Yeah.
the notes on the
Okay.
upper string. So the
Okay.
last 3 notes of the scale.
Okay. Very quickly though, if I could complete that last thought is,
Oh yeah.
I've been doing G major 3 octave up and down. Audience members can attest to that. They've seen it a lot. And very recently, as of like yesterday, I'm starting to do also a little bit of multiple different scales, like keys. I'm doing the first 2 pages of Segovia scales.
Okay. Good.
And they're still kind of rough, but like, yeah, the focus is mostly ladders. So
Okay.
3 notes.
Just the top 3. And what we want to do is, if you can, yep, I just want to be able to see that middle finger.
Yeah, maybe like this.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay.
Good. And now we're just going to do ABC. Just ba-ba-bum.
Do you want
Good. Go
up?
Go up.
Up,
Up,
yeah.
up, up. ABC.
Yeah, because that is like a stop point, I guess.
Good. Do it again. Now what I want you to do with your right hand is just pluck your M finger and let it go on the A. Good. Now I on the B, let it go. And then M on the C, let it go. So that curvature right there that you see, if you look down,
Yeah.
that looks much improved.
Yeah. But like if I look at the angle, there is an angle in the mid joint and then
Yep.
a different angle. So like
Okay.
there's, if I try not to move it at all, there's like a little bit.
Hold your hand out like this.
Yeah.
Just let it go. Just like make a fist and then relax.
Uh-huh.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah. And that's less than what I just had.
Right. Just a little
Those.
bit. What I'm seeing, if I had to try to recreate it, is the difference between, let me do it from this angle, is
Right.
this and that.
Yeah.
This and that. So what I want you to
Right.
do for a second is just allow your fingers like, hand model, get the, here's the
Yeah.
perfect thing, right? Now, when you flex that second finger slightly and bring it up, so you see how I'm adding curve and flex to that joint?
Uh-huh.
Here's the thing I want you to start to pay attention to. Stop thinking about this joint.
Uh-huh.
Put your mind here.
Okay. Like,
Because what's happening is this doesn't exist in a vacuum,
uh-huh. Okay.
right? Like it is really hard to just flex that joint.
Yeah.
That took, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how long that took me to learn how to do.
Yeah, I used to be able to do it, and now I can't. I can still do it easily in this hand,
But notice you
but
have to
I
lock.
can't. I really can't here.
What you
Yeah.
just did to get that to happen was to lock that joint.
Yeah,
right?
I guess so, yeah.
So what I'm talking
I see.
about is not locking that joint and just flexing that one. Dude, that was
Yeah.
hard.
I,
Okay.
I used to be able to, every finger here, which is crazy. My hands feel so different now.
So now I want
Like-
you to think instead of that locking, right?
Uh-huh.
Like when you locked this joint had to literally collapse and seize,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you lose all mobility. What I want you to do for a second is act like get your hand so that the finger is nice and flat, like this is your perfect, like this is your goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want you to intentionally flex that tip joint.
Yeah.
And you
really.
notice how much now actually is occurring here?
Right.
And do you notice anything here? Like when I do that, I can very, very subtly feel the slightest bit of additional tension in this joint and the smallest amount of lift right here. So if you watch my index finger, you'll see it move a little. And you can see this middle digit of the finger come up. So if we're doing it extreme, it looks like this. Okay?
Right.
Yours is nowhere near that.
It used to be more like that, but
mine was.
Yeah.
Like whenever I played certain pieces, that was something that haunted me in my early 20s.
Yeah.
Okay? And I just went through it. So what we're going to do is this, and I'm going to drop the camera just so that everybody, looks like I got to make some adjustments here to make this happen. Hang on. There we go. I want to be able to drop this just a little bit. All right, so what we're looking to do is we just want to do MIM, but let each finger come right back out of the hand.
Yeah.
Right?
I
so
mean,
go ahead and do that.
Putting my hand on the strings right now, I already have that curl. Like even before
I'm gonna
I
live
play
with that.
anything.
Like I'm gonna live with that right now.
That's okay. Okay.
Yep,
So
I'm gonna live with
it.
Yeah. Because what we're trying to do.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my camera. There we go. What we're trying to do is not get it perfect right out of the gate, because that's setting the bar too high.
Okay.
Right? What we're trying to do is find a way to get off of this plateau that you're on.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And to make further progress in an area that is so microscopic. You know, like when we're thinking of the gross motor function, like the arm moving or something, like we're seeing really big and palpable change when we're doing anything with this. We're talking about the difference between that and that.
Yeah.
Dude, that is like, it's almost hard to measure that kind of thing. So what I want to do is this. Right now is just approach it from the standpoint of energizing your finger and then emptying that finger as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep the scale slow. But right off the bat, if you can feel that middle finger at rest, don't touch the string. So if you're out, and I'm doing this just so you can see, I don't recommend like doing that to your viewers. Right now, your finger looks great. The curvature I see in your tip joint right now is not one of tension.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, when you put your finger to the string, I want you to pay attention to these joints putting it there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's... Yeah.
I'm seeing more of this putting it there.
It is, yeah.
I'd like you to think about the big knuckle joint putting it there.
Yeah. I feel like that's a little bit more.
There you go. This motion now, I'm starting to see, I'm trying to pay attention to this area.
Right.
And I want to see that move, because what I saw happen before was essentially this. See how this part of the digit is not moving, and this is? What I'm seeing now is more motion from that base knuckle joint.
Yeah.
And so the plateau that you've reached, I think now is going to require more attention away from that tip joint here to start to see the result here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? Yeah. So we're looking to just get that A note and the M finger. Okay, now the next thing I want you to do is as that finger lands on that string, okay, I'm going to get real close up to the camera. You're doing free strokes?
Yeah.
I want you to do this.
Yeah.
Can you feel it?
Yes. It's not showing up well on camera. But
No, I see it. You're good.
You can see it. Great.
Now pluck.
Right.
Prepare. Feel that flex, and then push it through.
Right.
That's what's going to take you to the next level.
Yeah.
Because now what you're doing is actively reinforcing the looseness of that.
Yeah. I've been looking for that in the slow, like, quarter speed kind of like scale practice.
So how do we apply it? We want to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just doing a piece with an altered tuning. So, plant.
Mm-hmm. Prepare.
Go. Yep. So,
Right.
the preparation, and we're going to load the string, or we're going to energize the string, and we want to
Right.
feel that knuckle joint.
Yeah.
I don't want to say collapse, but we do want to feel it loose.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm doing, remember the wiggle?
Yeah, the wiggle.
Okay,
yeah.
we're doing the wiggle, but I want to feel some of that power
Yeah.
right there in that tip joint. Now, I'm really exaggerating. It should not look like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
But just like
Push.
a little bit.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah. What
Okay.
I've noticed, if I can ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I've noticed, especially starting from the bass strings, where this problem is like a little less, but like I really notice it here, is that like I'll be focusing on the large knuckle and like a circular motion there, but then to release and return the finger, like it feels like if I just follow that same circular trajectory with the large knuckle, it hits the string on the way back, so I need to kind of like step over the string.
So you do a
Like-
little, and I think because you're thinking of the trajectory of the motion almost like the tip of a pendulum.
Yeah.
So it's following exactly the same course.
Yeah.
Okay, let me...
Like, how do I avoid hitting it if I'm only using that knuckle? Like,
It's arts and crafts time. If you are... What you're describing, I believe...
like, yeah, because the nail is in that spot.
So you're talking about this.
Yes.
Okay, so if the string is here, we'll make the 0 the string.
Yeah.
Then on the way back, you're going to hit it.
Yeah, the nail's
Okay.
gonna hit the string. Yeah.
And we know that if we do something more elliptical, that we start having all sorts of weird motion, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Like this. Like, we definitely don't want that. That would mean, like, our fingers going up.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Right.
avoid doing that, I guess. But,
So what if we change the orientation of this motion
uh-huh.
to be a little bit different? And here's what I'm thinking. What we're going to do is move that oval so that it looks a little bit more like that.
Okay.
Okay? So it's not going to go this
So-
high, but that
Uh-huh.
way you're getting a little bit of clearance.
But there is some clearance that you look for,
Yeah.
right?
Because if you don't have clearance, then you are going to bump into the string.
Right. Okay. I'm glad I'm not crazy. Like I was
No.
like sanity check. There
in
has
fact,
to be. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't have a copy handy, but in Pepe Romero's technique book, there's a really cool illustration of just that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So just like kind of like a circular, like elliptical kind of motion.
There's a slight, yeah, it's not high like we're coming out like this, right?
Uh huh.
So that's more of the pendular motion,
Right. Right.
right?
Okay. Right. So you're okay. Yeah, it
This
does kind of go.
no good, right? This is too much.
Okay, right.
Right.
But like a little bit.
It's sometimes easier to see on a higher string because you will bump into
Yeah.
the strings there.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen is if we're doing a free stroke, this motion in the preparation, this downward motion, and then the pluck, you'll see as I return, I don't have to bring my finger up. It's just returning to its regular path. That downward motion as I prepare that string
Okay.
is what's taking it out of that pendulum, right? So if I'm just swinging, I'm missing the string.
Yeah.
Right? But as I come down to touch that string, now it's on that pendulum path coming back.
Yeah.
Down, push, right? So I have to really reach to do this.
Okay.
Yeah. So now if you're adding that flex moment to that stroke, that's going to take care of it.
Okay.
Rest stroke is just taking that shape and turning it a little bit on its axis.
Yeah.
So that when you do it, right. So this way you really get kind of that up close shot. Right? See how I hit it?
Yeah.
If I don't have that return,
So
and this isn't a conscious return, it's just returning to where our starting point is. Right? Which is out here facing that string. Right. So it's this downward motion to prepare the finger on the string that takes us off of that path.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Yeah. And then so when I pluck, whether it's a free stroke, it's returning now to that path where I'm not going to hit anything. Right. Oops.
Yeah.
Right. That's the idea. And what we do is if we stay now with just the top 3 notes, and we're working on emptying the finger immediately, bang. Good. Now I. And then M. Good. Do that again. Place. Good. And then M. Now do that in a row with a timed release. You're trying to allow each of the fingers to feel that relaxed after you pluck.
Yeah.
The relaxation is after the pluck.
Yeah. Okay. Timed release is individual releases.
Like, so individual meaning I'm just letting it go.
Right.
Like I'm not timing it with another finger or anything. Timing means we're going to pluck it and let go of a little bit. It's going to be at rest, but it's in that swing space in the hand.
Okay.
So it's not fully flexed.
Exchange. Yeah.
Right. So we're timing the exchange.
Okay.
Right?
Got it.
Now do that. M-I-M. Good. That is a big improvement. Now, increase the speed on that.
Yeah.
And just that. That looks good. It's not gone, but it's still minimized. Okay? So this is where we're after the progress, not perfection frame of thinking.
Right.
Right? Because if we're trying to, at this point, where you're at, you've reached this plateau. Now I want it gone. Well, we still have a couple degrees of minimization, I think, before it's...
Yeah.
And I don't want to say gone. I'm going to use the term unnoticeable.
Yeah.
It's no longer in your way. Okay? That way, then, you can then refine it even further and further and further. So at this point now, we want to start getting that as a single reflex. So we're not going to think anymore about the individual fingers. We just want to be aware of how those fingers feel.
Yeah.
Doing those 3 notes. Good, and then let it go after that M. You're done. Right. Done. That little allowing the finger to come back, that elasticity of the finger, is another part of building this in, because if we're holding back even 2% too much, that 2% accumulates over all the notes and all the strings. And by the end of the scale, things are tighter. So we're just dealing with the end, because here's how I want it to feel when I'm done.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah. So essentially, how easy this is for you, pluck and release, we're now making those 3 notes equal to that one. Done.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's okay if you make a couple mistakes. There you go. Now, this is good. I want you to try half as hard to do it.
Okay.
Good. You feel how there's a little punch on that last one?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let it go. Yeah. That. Right there. There's still a little bit of pop on that M.
Yeah. Yeah.
The last one. Do it slow and pianissimo. Da, da, da. Good. You feel how there's still a little bit of pop? They're tiny little bit? There. Now we're just going to do that a little faster. Much better. Good. Now, we don't want to loop it where we're just going like... Right?
Yeah.
So make sure that you give yourself enough time at the end. Done.
Right.
Okay? We're going to put the power back in. But right now, it's about making sure that we're not working so hard to accomplish our goal.
Yeah.
Right? Because the harder we try, or the more we try, the harder it sounds.
Uh-huh.
And I know for me, when I was young, there was no one told me I didn't have a teacher at this time. Mm-hmm. And I was doing these restaurant gigging every weekend and stuff. There was something that made sense to me in a very irrational way, but it made sense to me. That the harder I try, the more expressive it is. That just seems to make sense, right? Like when we practice. I gotta try harder.
Yeah.
You're sweating bullets just trying to get that out, right?
Yeah.
And so it makes sense. Like you would think that to be more expressive, you have to work harder because the word more is involved. Okay? But when you watch, and I think the groundbreaking moment for me as a player was watching Williams' Sevilla concert in the early 90s. Uh-huh. That video.
Oh, yeah, that one's great. Yeah, I've seen it.
This is at a time, for me, having been a John Williams fan, like that and the Barrios album were some of the most expressive albums he'd put out. But to see him, and it's like, dude, anybody who hasn't seen that video, I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere, but buy a copy. It's great. He doesn't even look like he's working, and he's playing some really hard stuff.
Yeah.
But you'll notice, too, Manuel Barrueco, David Russell, Scott Tennant, Bill Kanegeiser, Pepe Romero, you name it. The way it looks, they don't look like they're doing anything. Yeah. Because they have their power, their is intrinsic. So it's not this, right?
Yeah.
They built it in. And so what we're trying to do right now is for you to break that plateau. It's like we're going to light weights, but we're going to do 100 reps.
Yeah, right.
Rather than heavy weights to break that plateau. So this idea now of just playing, let the fingers go. Yep, just like that. Now, can you notice that the M finger feels like it's traveling further than I?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think.
At this speed, it's not affecting your rhythm. But I'm gonna put you in a time machine and send you into the future.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're in that 120, 130, 140 range, because again, I had this issue. I think it was the first time I did the Tedesco Concerto, like 25 years ago or something. I had my scales would gallop, but it wasn't a rhythm issue.
Okay.
It wasn't like I had bad rhythm. It was because M was traveling further than I, so it was taking more time to come back. But we're talking like milliseconds here, right? We can't even measure it. All we can do is be aware of it. So what you want to do is not intentionally try to make them the same. Okay? Because they're not the same length. And your middle finger's like mine. We got really long fingers. Good for us.
Yeah.
But what we want to do is, instead of thinking about that middle finger, trying to be like I, don't push M as far.
Right.
Don't try to shrink the motion. Just feel that same stroke, except you're not pushing M as far back in the hand.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, now that I'm really trying that, it feels like I want to push it farther so that I don't bump the strings in between, but I know that logically doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and don't worry about it.
Bump them.
Because that's that is an arm placement thing.
Yeah.
Right? So now all I want you to do...
rest. Yeah, it's so close to the other ones. Like
so you hit a string. Right now, that's okay. Your audience will forgive you. I mean, I've played a couple bum notes like that here. What I want you to do is just not push M as far.
Yeah.
Work less.
Yeah.
M's the big brother, and M has been babysitting I for a long time. So M can kind of like, I is old enough now, M can just kind of chill out. So if you notice, here's what you're doing. And I'm going to move my fingers outward. Please don't do this at home. Like, this is not cool. But I want to just show, John, you're going back like this far.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Just push the finger less.
Less. Okay.
Just push it less. That's it. That's it. Just back off M. We can still put power in it, but right now, it's just traveling too far. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. And now you'll find it'll start to look a little bit more like I without trying to look like I.
Yeah.
Right? So what we're looking for now is based on a sensation. If I told you, and there are some people that maybe this will make more sense to, we're trying to get I and M moving to a similar point. See how this is already going further?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we got two choices. I can come back further, or M cannot come back as much.
Yeah.
So what I'm looking for is
is and like less and less over time, right?
Yeah, so I want you to try this. This is how I did it. I did it with a pencil.
Yeah.
So for me, it was how far M was going out. So I did this.
Okay.
So when I relaxed the finger, I wanted to see where it was going. Right? So I did it here like this. But that my issue was M was coming out too far. What I want you to do is this.
It's kind of the reverse, right? Or...
Yeah, just put your pencil here up in your hand. And I just want you to tap dance your index and middle finger on them. That. You feel that difference in the motion? Take the pencil away and you see how M starts going like this.
Yeah.
You see how M feels, you feel more comfortable. You got a great follow through with M, which is awesome. But now the follow through is a little too much. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think for a while I was focusing on follow through.
And that's good.
And that's
now
good
you don't
too.
have to.
Right.
So what I'm doing to try to model this, okay, is I'm just going to keep the curvature in my hand. Got my nice C shape. And I'm going to put the pencil right there. This is it.
Okay. Tapping the nails doesn't matter.
If you want,
just
doesn't matter.
Okay.
Unless you want good pencil tone. It doesn't matter. Now I'm going to move it down here.
Move it. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm going to move it slightly down like this. I'm just trying to change the angle.
Okay.
Because what I'm trying to do here is I want to see, hey, look, no matter where I'm at, it doesn't matter. The fingers are traveling roughly the same distance.
Okay.
But I'm doing this without thinking about moving them the same distance. I just am thinking about M not working so hard. Okay, as soon as you back off of M, you're going to get that result. Even just from that little exercise we did, you may notice M now. You see how M is already traveling less?
Yeah, definitely.
Just from doing that. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the next thing for you to focus on.
Cool.
Okay. Now, doing the scale in reverse.
Yeah.
Just feeling. And I'm doing our ladders, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's the point where it started to come back in. So notice that when you did 3 strings, that curve popped right back in. So that, to me, is where I have to stop. Because that means I'm asking too much. So if I've got this going on, then I'm going to work on just working less, moving M, not as far. I'm just not working M. How easily can I do it? Again, thinking about like when you see these great players and you can see that they're really not working very hard. That's the part I'm now trying to emulate.
Yeah.
You know? And if it means that I have to lose a little bit of my dynamic range to solve this at the moment, it's a temporary sacrifice.
Right.
You know, I'll get that piece. You know, it's like I'll get that piece back when I get to the back row.
Yeah.
Right. So this way, now if you can do 2 strings without it coming back, then stay there. That looks pretty good still. It's starting to creep back a little, but I think that's the speed you're working at. Yeah. That already looks huge.
Okay.
Huge improvement. Okay. When you feel comfortable with that, then try going to just maybe the notes in that position. Much better. Then when you feel comfortable with that after a day or 2, now go down to second.
The shift.
Yeah. So that you're adding more than 1 note at a time.
Right.
We're trying to add by string.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that way, now we'll be able to segment our issues into, okay, this is an alternation, relaxation issue versus shifting or string crossing, creating that.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Right.
So just to recap what we did, we focused a lot on making sure that that finger really feels a flex, okay? There are some players, some students, when I see them, and it's the opposite.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so this is not I'm trying to make sure I'm like anybody in the audience that may be trying to do this. If somebody does that really naturally, you don't need to promote it.
Yeah.
But we're trying to counteract some of the force and effort you've been using. So we really, for you, want to try to make sure that you can be aware of that sensation.
Yeah.
Okay. Another student, I may say, don't collapse it so much. Don't let it collapse. Don't let it flex so much.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
So this is where individually we have to kind of attenuate or tune how much we do it.
Right.
But this idea of reinforcing the looseness of that finger as it goes through,
Yeah.
and then it coming back. So we've got our individual, and then putting them together.
Yeah.
And letting them come back out to that degree. And then just so that essentially those 3 notes now feel like 1. Then we'll do 5 notes. And those 5 notes should feel like a reflex. So you're not thinking of those. Right? Once you've got those 5 notes and it feels as easy as plucking 1, now you can add another 2 or another 3.
Yeah.
This to me is a really good example of long-term goal, middle term, short term, monthly, weekly, daily, immediate.
Okay.
Like these are you know,
Right.
it's like, what are your long-term goals? Okay,
Yeah.
well, great. How do I get them? I need to see short term and middle term. Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we look at the short term. Let's say that's 2-3 months out. Great. So I got to break that down into monthly. Now I got to break the monthlies down into weekly.
Yeah.
Now I break the weekly down into daily.
Right.
Now here I am in my day. What is my immediate goal?
Yeah.
My immediate goal is to play those 3 notes, not moving M as far, right? Just feeling like I'm working M half as much. It's gonna feel weird because it's like I feel like I'm not doing anything, right? Yeah. And allowing that tip joint to be as loose as we can, keeping our mind on the larger joint.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's our immediate goals. So this way we can really still have that clear, systematic, and stepwise.
Yeah.
This is to me where we as students, myself included, whether it's in a piece or a technique, a study, I don't care. Like you pick. It doesn't matter what arena we're talking about. This is where we have to get away from the I say jump and you say how high.
Okay.
Right? Because it's like, no, I can't jump that high. Has to now turn into I struggle jumping that high. Now, if I struggle jumping that high, I have to practice jumping a foot. Now I can get a foot in the air. Great. And I can do that consistently. Can I jump 2 feet in the air?
Yeah. Yeah.
Inconsistently, but yes. Great. I can do it. We're away from can't.
Yeah.
I struggle jumping 2 feet in the air. Great.
Right.
Now I'm going to jump 2.5 or 3 or whatever. And that's how we have to approach immediate goals, because the success that you had today is what you build on. And if we don't recognize those immediate, they're small successes, but how do we get big ones if we can't build them off the little? And that's the mindset when we're talking about something this subtle and this refined that affects us in big ways. Then we have to also see our successes as, like death by 1,000 paper cuts. Well, we're building a house one toothpick at a time.
Okay.
Right? It's the same thing in reverse, is that I did that.
Yeah.
Now I can do that consistently. Now let me add the next 2 notes to it.
Yeah.
The next 3 notes. Okay? Because you already know the scale. You already can play the scale. You can already do these things. And this is how we start doing them better.
Right.
Just like if you had a personal trainer, right? And you're doing buys, but your arm, like maybe your elbow was out while you were doing them. And then your personal trainer comes by and they go, oh, doop. That's it. So I'm not mindful of this. I'm trying to be mindful of that.
Right.
Like I'm not thinking about the buy right now. I'm thinking about the elbow. Because you got this part down. And there you go. So it has to be, if there's emotion or anything in your practice that's unclear to you, that'll be an area that doesn't progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the part. So in your own practice, as you're starting, you may have questions. You should. Like every week, more and more, like, okay, I thought everything was clear. Here's my progress. Next step. Maybe something's unclear to me.
Yeah, like the circular motion or the elliptical motion.
Yeah. Well, what we know is it's a slight motion. It's not this total pendular motion. The pendular motion would be if we're not if we're not moving down to touch the string. But it's that downward motion because we're pushing downward into the guitar.
Yeah.
Right? So yes, there is a slight ellipse.
That makes sense now. Yeah. That really clears that up. Okay.
Book like right next to me, so I could just put it up. I don't think I do. No, I don't. I've got a few other books, but there is a page, and perhaps before you post the video, maybe we find it. But it's in that first half of Pepe's technique method, where there's just this one illustration of the motion of the finger, and it just shows this little oval with arrows. That's it, and it's perfect. And I think that's the visualization that you need. I tried to draw it, but obviously I wasn't an art major.
No, it made sense. Like once you drew it.
Good.
Okay. Well,
cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. I need to check in because every now and then I do need a little bit of encouragement. I guess because I'm human. Like, is this stuff making progress? Am I moving forward? I'm not just stalled. Okay.
Yes. No.
Great.
There's no stall.
Then,
what it is that our progress, when you plateau, you can still make progress.
Right.
But I'm going to be, the terminology I'm going to use, I do not want you to have an emotional reaction to.
Okay.
Because I had to learn this too. My progress was insignificant. Not absent.
Okay. But not enough.
My progress was insignificant. It wasn't enough to notice. Significant progress, we notice because it's significant.
Yeah.
Insignificant progress, we don't notice as it's hardly noticeable.
Yeah.
Because it's just not a lot. No progress is totally different than insignificant or less significant. So again, I know I might be splitting hairs. Thank my old man, he was an English teacher. The old man is Dick Provo. My old man is my dad.
Right.
Significant, less significant, insignificant, none.
Okay. So but minor progress though. Like
you're making progress. It's just less significant than you want.
Yeah. Okay? So then on want, I did want to ask, like, I want to put all this in context because there are technical things that we're refining or fixing or whatever we want to call it. Is it a problem to the degree that, like, if I kept playing this way, I would injure myself or I wouldn't be able to get to 120 on my scales? Like, is it like a block that is going to, prevent me from progressing further because, then there's a separate question there. It's like, do I need to get to 120? Do I want to?
Okay,
Like,
so there were
yeah.
3 things there. So let's take the 120, put it over here for a second.
Yeah.
Will it lead to injury? That I've seen people with awful hands play for 70 years and never get an injury.
Okay.
I've seen people with great technique have injuries.
Yeah.
Okay. The torn tendon that I have,
Right.
that had nothing to do with technique. That had to do with 35 years of playing a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and thankfully when I was showing the physicians and the sports medicine surgeons and all the folks for that, it was like, look, is there something I'm doing? They're like, no, you have an elbow joint that pops out like this, which makes you more prone to that tendon tearing. Oh.
Yeah.
So I got it fixed. Life is good. Okay. So injury wise, no, I don't see anything that you're doing that screams at me like you're going to hurt yourself. Okay. But at the same time, that's because I try not to worry about that in a way that's, I don't want to get hurt. Okay. If you're working on the things we're working on, it takes you further and further and further away from the potentiality of those things.
Yeah.
But also, I don't see, I don't see you workhorsing yourself to a degree where I'm practicing 6 hours a day, then I got this rehearsal, then I got that rehearsal.
Right.
Like, I don't see you doing anything that in that amount that would send you down that road.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So without either a Palantir or a time machine, I don't see anything that you're doing that in my mind would lead to injury.
Great.
From my experience, okay? I'm not a doctor, but in that regard, I don't see anything that's going to hey, okay,
right.
next.
Then, there's plenty of great music out there to learn at 80 BPM scales.
Right, so that brings me to the next thing. Is it stopping you from playing the pieces you're playing now well? Mostly not.
Yeah. Mostly not.
But when you have a scale run, that's where you now have more, you're working harder, and that's creating more work.
Right.
Because I can think of plenty of times in your arpeggios in any kind of chordal or harmonic situation, no, you don't have any problems. So this is affecting you in a very niche way in your overall technique. Unfortunately, that niche is something we do a lot.
Yeah.
We do a lot of melody work. So it affects you in a very specific way, but not globally.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, last one. Do you need to get your scales to 120?
I don't
120
think so.
for guitarists is kind of what I'm going to call the industry standard. Okay? The industry standard, meaning 120 gives you the most amount of rep opportunities.
Right.
There are obviously is rep you can't play past 120, but 120 or lower gives you at least, I'm going to just throw out 85 to 90% of the rep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need to get it to 120? That is entirely dependent on 2 things. 1, the pieces that you want to play, and 2, what kind of car you want to drive. And what I mean by that is not like, I'm going to strike it rich and drive a Porsche or a Maserati. What I mean is that what kind of car do you want to drive? So I have a Subaru. Why do I have a Subaru? Because they saved my life. I love the fact that it's got all-wheel drive, and when you have a head-on collision, that engine goes under the car.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll never buy another car again. I'm always buying Subaru. It saved my life once, and unless they change something about that, I'm like Subaru all the way.
Wow.
But for years we had a Toyota. Okay, 2-wheel drive in the front, so it's not as bad as rear-wheel drive in bad weather.
Yeah.
Doesn't go very fast, but it's efficient, and I drove it into the ground. I think it had 290,000 miles, so I know I'm getting a lot for my investment. But it doesn't go really fast.
Yeah.
So maybe I need a car that goes really fast. Okay, I got myself a sports car. It does really bad in bad weather, and I'm certainly not going to drive it, when things... So what kind of car do you want? Do you want like an all-purpose vehicle, something that can do a lot of those things really well, but none of them great?
Yeah.
Do you want to have a car? See, I look at it like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to have a technique that one is like a Lotus or a Ferrari. Like I want to be able to go fast and smooth. Like that's designed for action. Okay.
Right.
Cool. I also want to have a technique that allows me a certain amount of ruggedness dynamically. So I got a 4x4 out in the driveway, like a big old pickup truck. I can take over this, or a Jeep. I can do this. So I've got a technique that allows for certain dynamic peaks and valleys. But then I also want to have a technique that allows for economy, where I don't have to fill up the gas tank every week and still drive as much. I'm not worried about how fast I go or the weather I have to drive in, but it's a reliable car that I know is going to last me 15 years.
Yeah.
Those are the three ways that I look at technical development in terms of mechanics.
Yeah.
Our hands, okay?
Yeah.
And some of us are predisposed to a certain way. Some people are just, hey man, you're gifted, you're a fast player, good for you. Maybe I can get to a point where I'm just as fast as someone who's a natural at it. Great. Maybe I can. Some people have really powerful hands and fingers and they can communicate a lot of expression, but they lack speed or they lack efficiency.
Yeah.
Cool. I want to be able to do that too. And I want to be able to do that for a long period of time without working really hard.
Right.
So I think of not just my hands that way, but I also think about the way I look at music that way. I think about the way I practice that way. And if I were a really smart dude, I'd look at my life that way.
Yeah.
I'm not quite there yet, right, in the life part, but by breaking it down that way, now I can ask myself, how much volume do I really need? How much can I get? I mean, I'm blessed to have these great instruments that allow me to do those things.
Yeah.
But I've also spent a great deal of time working on developing a very, very large dynamic range because I play music that's really dynamic and I try to play it really dynamically.
Right.
Speed-wise, to play the music that I've always wanted to play, I have to have a certain amount of facility.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's that third one. If you want to play certain pieces that require that, then you can go ahead and develop that. But if you say to me, and because I remember, look, man, you're not in school, you're not getting a grade, but that doesn't mean you can't really play great.
Right.
Okay? But you have to determine where your energy is going to go with your hour a day.
Yeah.
Okay? The difference here is we're not using the word can't. That's the part we want to stay away from. Is like, I can't play that piece. I don't have a technique that allows me to play that piece right now.
Yeah.
That's a very different thing than I can't.
Right. But you think I could get the Ferrari, like if I
based on what I've seen in the last based on what I've seen, I don't see any students that have come through my door that have fully realized their potential limitations. We all have those limitations because of our lack of understanding, our lack of clarity, and our lack of coordination.
Right.
We take care of all three of those things. We start to clearly understand what has to happen here, here, and here for us to play well. We work on the coordination of those fingers and the coordination of our fingers to our musical model in our mind.
Yeah.
And then there has to be will and desire in there too. Like I have to want to do those things, otherwise I'm not going to do them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't see anything, none, and I'm going on record online to the world, I don't have a single student that has fully come to realize their potential or the limitations of that potential. We have limitations because I don't know how to move my fingers really well, or I have limitations because my practice is disorganized, or I have limitations because I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
But those are all kind of self-imposed. I haven't seen any single student in the time that they've studied with me, whether it's 10 months, 10 years, 20 years, fully realize that potential yet. They're still getting there. They're still on their way. That has nothing to do with the amount of improvement that I've seen in students. I've seen students come in, man, their hands look like they went through a meat grinder. 4 years later, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Look at you. That's not me. That's the student.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I firmly believe a teacher cannot make someone get better.
Okay.
We can teach you how to get better.
Yeah. Right.
But even when I go, you're going to get an F, I can't make you get better.
Right.
But it's based on that. Okay?
Yeah.
So whether you decide to go to 120 or not, dude, that's really up to you. Because even on a deep hobbyist, okay, how deep? That's like there's your answer. So right now, there's really nothing that you're playing that really gets to that point. You know, it might be at 100. I don't think you've played anything where it's been 120, like what we worked on recently, you know?
I think
where it's
the
in that
Chacon
zone. Oh, that's different. I'm not including that. That's different.
Chacon has 30 seconds. You know, if you're playing
that is
it
not
at,
part of this
at 30,
conversation.
Yeah, but then the thing is, so like speaking of an economy car versus a F-150 or whatever the middle car is versus
like the pickup truck.
Yeah, a pickup truck versus a sports car. Like, to answer that question, I would say I want an economy car first. At some, you know, over time, get that pickup truck, I guess, like the dynamics. I'm not as interested in a Ferrari personally.
Totally cool.
And so, you know, you can add in a lot of slurs into the Chacon, and then you're playing scales at 60 instead of 120.
Well, the interesting thing is it will limit the choices of rep we have. However, depending on how we interpret that piece and how we decide to play it, are we going to play it in a very virtuosic way?
No. And I'm okay
not
with
necessarily.
That. Yeah.
We could or not. I've heard plenty great violinists play that piece, and they're not as fast as Perlman. Right? Because it's not like that's the standard. There are a lot of ways to approach how we play. Even in classic guitar recordings, we hear David play it at a different speed than Manuel plays it, and Williams plays it at a different speed than Segovia, and this and that. Well, those are all based on our musical interpretations, okay? So that's where we have a certain amount of, do I have to play at 120? If you were going for a career as a concert guitarist, then the answer is hell yes, you do.
Right.
If that's not part of it, then no. And it's not like a pass-fail. It's what degree.
Different audience, different purpose, different goal.
Different career.
Right.
Like, this is somebody, we're talking about people who are going to make their career performing. Like, this is how you feed your kids.
Yeah. Super different.
Right. So the stress on me for a bad concert is way different than the stress on anyone you for a bad concert. Is it going to end my career? No. Is it going to affect it? Probably. Temporarily. So I try not to play bad concerts, but when we have players that you know, I make, you know, this much of my career financially teaching and this much performing.
Right.
Sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like that.
Right.
Some people it's like this.
Yeah. And to take the analogy further, maybe you can go on more trips and actually go on more trips with an economy car as opposed to a sports car. And so
the idea for me is like the Subaru. It has everything I need. It can go really fast. It's not Ferrari fast, but it's really fast. It's got the all-wheel drive, and it's got great mileage. So I've got kind of the best of all three. Right. That's and then maybe I can design a car that does it, or I need all three. I need to have a Ferrari in the garage. You know, for those times where I feel like driving fast.
Cool.
Okay.
Asturias, how fast do you think my scales and arpeggios should be?
Scales aren't an issue in that piece.
Okay.
You need to have, if you're going to play it to kind of that quarter note equals 80 range, then you need to have 3 arpeggios in the A section. It's the A section where you have you'll have PIM, PIA, and PMI tremolo MI, right? And all of those, depending on how you measure them, would be around triplets at 160.
Okay.
Right, because those are the sextuplets. You know? Right. Does that mean you can't play the piece if it's not at 80? No. I've heard people play the piece at 72. It sounds good. I've heard
Yeah.
them play it faster. I don't, 80 is kind of that nice middle road.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
what you do is you have a study for each one of those things. Okay. So if you're getting to this,
Yeah.
then we have
Right.
okay, and
Yeah.
then we have that PIA.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need a study for each one. Well, you already have one for PIM, Brouwer 3.
Okay. Right.
PIM,
Uh-huh.
Snow Flight by Andrew York is a great one.
Yeah.
Just because it's like the left hand has to do like one finger at a time for most of it, right?
Right.
But now we got to get it fast, right? So it's not as evocative as if you were doing like, right? We need to get that thing.
Right.
We need to get it cooking. So this.
Right.
So it might be on the slightly faster side.
Okay.
Certainly, there are a ton of PIM arpeggios. There's just studies.
I like that
Giuliani,
one.
Aguado. They're all over the place. Okay.
Cool.
PIA is a little harder to come by, but Aguado has a good one. I believe Carcassi has them interdispersed.
Okay.
Leif Ellis has a very good study. He has 5 arpeggio studies. And I can't remember. Did you do the first one?
I think I did. Yeah, PIA. Yeah,
PIA,
one of those is.
right?
Yeah.
I think that's called Going Home.
Yes. I've done that one. Yeah.
Good. Turn it into a PIA study. Just double everything.
Awesome. Okay. 6 couplets. Cool.
Right?
Cool.
So now we've got a PIA study, but I have to double. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? But you already know the left hand, so just turn it into a PIA study.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Cool.
That once you have those
Mm-hmm.
at or around those speeds, now you just got to learn the notes
Yeah.
in Leanda.
Yeah.
Or you could learn it the way I did, which was not that way.
Which was learn the notes first and then...
Which was not like I learned that when I was like 16 years old, and I had no
Yeah.
business with no teacher learning that piece.
Yeah.
But it didn't stop me.
Mm-hmm.
I could play the piece. I was playing it every weekend, multiple times.
Yeah.
But it just was a lot of work, and it didn't sound very good. Thankfully, we didn't have YouTube back then, and there are no recordings of me from that period. So
Yeah.
you'll just have to trust me. It didn't sound very good.
I had it at 60 or so, like
That's good.
several
If you-
years ago. Yeah.
Once you get that thing up to 68 or 70, go. Start learning it.
Okay.
And that shouldn't stop you from learning the first 8 bars.
Yeah.
This, go ahead, learn them.
Right.
But
right.
once you get here, this is where now all of a sudden it's like to do it well, I have to put the brakes on
Yeah.
until I get
Right.
those studies. So if we're doing a technical inventory of a piece, that's how I like to do it anyways.
Cool.
It's like I know what I need to work on before I actually start learning the piece,
Yeah.
so that I'm not working out my issues on the piece.
Yeah, that's good to this time around think of a target technically before I like really attempt it again.
And it doesn't have to be like I don't have to hit 80.
Yeah.
As soon as you get to 68 or 70, go ahead. You have enough of a technical cushion
Yeah.
to be able to play the piece like this.
Right. And I think for my audience, a lot of people hearing classical guitar for the first time ever, like that's still gonna sound good. I don't need to impress other guitarists necessarily.
That's about 68. No.
Yeah.
I mean, you could certainly pull a piece off at 68 or 70.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same flair as 80,
Yeah.
but that's something you get to,
Right.
But it's having the clarity of knowing what demands are being asked. It's like having a job with no job description. Essentially, my contracts is just say I do whatever you tell me. Right? I need to know what my responsibilities are. So what technically in the piece
Yeah.
is there? You know, the A section, the difficulties there are not so much the mechanical, they're the musical.
Yeah. Right. Right. I remember that.
Right? That
Yeah.
B section, and all Albani's B sections, are about the expression and our musical maturity and interpretational skills
Yeah.
making that work. Because when you
Yeah.
look at it on page, it don't sound like anything like what you hear. You know? Cool. So for your next lesson, we want to get back to that Garcia. Okay. And you've also been talking about some of the rep that you want to start bringing back into the forefront. So we want to make sure that we've got that square for your next lesson.
Yeah, I can play Villa-Lobos Prelude 1 again at this point, so maybe next time we could do Garcia and Prelude 1. Yeah.
So we'll check in on your scales. Mm-hmm. Okay. We can also check in very quickly on one of the etudes for Leanda if you choose to go down that road right now. Because, again, that helps say, oh, I don't have to learn the piece right now. I'm working on the studies for the piece right now.
Right.
Villa-Lobos Prelude 1, and just, if you finish the Garcia, that's awesome, but maybe the first couple lines that we did.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds great.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, Chris. Yeah,
my pleasure, man. Good to see you. I hope everybody out in the world's doing well.
Yeah, I think so. Diablo Get, I want to say this out loud. Mm-hmm. Two handsome men, speaking of guitars, he do be giving good advice indeed. Thank you, Diablo Get. So
you're gonna make me blush.
Yeah. Let's make Chris blush. And then some nice comments from folks. I hope everybody enjoyed this. I did very much. Diablo Get laughs with 5 ha's or 4 ha's. Ha 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 ha. So cool. Thanks so much, brother. Chris. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. All right. Next time, maybe 1 or 2 more public, and then we'll start doing more private lessons. I guess we'll figure. Yeah, we'll figure
Next Wednesday is when classes begin for the university. Okay. And like I said, I should have a schedule laid out within the next little bit so that you'll know well in advance, and your audience, you can announce to your audience when it will be. And we'll try to keep it on Wednesdays if we can, but you find that perfect time for your viewership.
Okay. Sounds good. All right.
Great. All right, everybody have a good day. John, I'll see you soon.
All right. See you soon.
All right.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I know we didn't play very much guitar, but this was a super, super helpful conversation for me. Oh, look at that. I'm upside down. Let's fix that. We hardly played. I played like a couple of notes in a C major scale, but this was tremendously useful. And that's how it goes sometimes, Flip. All right, let me play a song, and then we'll be done for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. I think that these are great. I think these are really fun. I'm very proud of these recorded lessons. Let's play a couple of songs, and then we'll be done for the day. I don't know. Let's do some easy stuff. Because I literally have not really practiced very much today. So let's warm up with a couple easy ones. Let's just play my Tarrega set. I've got Lagrima, Adelita, and Capricho Arabe. Alright. So, I hope you all enjoyed. Here's Lagrima. thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoy. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you enjoyed this lesson, if you enjoyed this small performance, yeah. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This was a pleasure to be able to play for you all and host this lesson. So keep an eye out. I will post the next time that we're going to run another one of these live public lessons. I'll post it in my Discord, discord.jcpractices.com, if you want a shortcut to get to there. If you really enjoyed this, you could help support the series by going to thanks.jcpractices.com. That'll take you to Buy Me a Coffee, which is a great platform. It's the one that I'm currently using for any kind of viewer donations. 100% of any donations to the stream will go right back into the stream, right back into my hobby as a guitarist, and we'll be able to share more of these lessons for you all. So yeah, help us make it a reality. I'd love to do these every single week again. But for now, I think I will be going back to private lessons with Chris as the default. So thanks everybody for watching. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. All right, thanks. Bye. Bye, everyone.